And I'm kind of like, ugh, when I say this now, but I really did think it was the case. Like, I would not say Americans talk louder when in America. So that's like, that's less than half. And that surprises me. Oh, the little buddy. You having a little nappy poo on my lappy poo? Yes. So today we are going to talk about 10 things I thought all Americans did until I visited the United States and saw for myself. Now we are going back here. The first time I visited the United States was the year I finished secondary school, and since then I've gone to America tons of times, mostly on the channel. And sometimes when I do these lists I get a little kickback that people are like, oh, you're basing that off film and TV. Yeah, that's how the rest of the world knows America, through film and TV. And might I point out that if you have not visited other parts of the world, that's how you're going to know other parts of the world. Like, maybe your perception of France is entirely through Emily in Paris.
Un, pas une. Un pain au chocolat.
It's not like that. It is a little bit, actually, but yeah, here we go. Okay, the first thing that shocked me, especially when I went to Texas for the first time, was the lack of cowboy hats. I genuinely thought that pretty much a lot of Texans were going to be wearing cowboy hats, and that was not the case. And people in the comments were saying, oh, there's a difference between a cowboy hat and just a hat, or a Stetson, was it maybe? But yeah, I thought a lot more people would wear cowboy hats. But no, a lot of people wear baseball caps in the United States. That surprised me. Like, people wear baseball caps all the live long day. Like, the baseball cap is a way of life in America. The next thing that surprised me is I thought it would be a lot louder. I know people have a joke about how when Americans are outside of America, you guys talk very loudly, and that can be the case. So I did think that everybody was going to be talking loudly all the time, and the strangest thing was that that was not the case. It's almost like when you're in a different environment you talk more loudly, whereas the volume level is like very just like steady there. I would not say Americans talk louder when in America, but that's an interesting phenomenon. I feel that should be studied, perhaps, by some scientisty people. The next thing that I thought would be way more prevalent was pets as wild animals.
She said it the wrong way around. Duh.
Now, there is a whole thing about the flyover states, and I haven't visited them yet because they are the flyover states. And it's not that I don't want to. People are often like, why do you only go to... It's because I've done like a 17-hour flight or whatever it is, and usually I've done 2 flights. I've stopped over somewhere, and the idea of getting on another plane then, it's just like... So I do want to go to the flyover states. I just haven't yet, but maybe this is more prevalent there. Wild animals as pets. I've seen a lot of documentaries and stuff where people have like monkeys or tiger cubs or raccoons as pets, and I've yet to meet an actual person who has one of those things as pets. Do you have one? Let me know below in comments. If you do, I want to hear all about that life. Can I visit you also? I'm half serious.
She was murdered!
The next thing, and I'm going to say this in a whisper because I don't want to start anything, but I did think that pretty much all Americans would have pew-pews. I thought that pretty much, like, that was the idea you get when you watch film and television, is that everybody has one, or every household has one, and that's just the way of life. But that's actually not the case at all. Like, most people seem to not have... Actually, that's a statistic I wouldn't mind looking up. What percentage of American households have a gun? Oh, okay. About 4 in 10 US adults say they live in a household with one, including 32% who say they personally own one. So that's less than half, and that surprises me.
Just a little reminder, maybe you want to give yourself a gift this Christmas of channel membership or Patreon. Over there you can get rewards like bonus videos, join in a Skype hangout every month, get badges and emojis, or even get a personal video message from me and Chewy. Give yourself the gift of us this Christmas. If you're not in a position to do so, like, comment, and subscribe. That is a fantastic gift for us this Christmas.
The next thing is, I thought that when I was in America, most Americans would identify as American. Okay, so we get that when people come to Ireland, for example, they're going to be like, oh, my family is part Irish, my grandmother, my great-grandmother. And that makes sense because it's in the context of you guys being in Ireland. But actually, when you're in America, Like, people flat out say, I'm Irish, or I'm Spanish, or I'm German. And I thought when I was in America, you guys would be more inclined to be saying that you're American. And it's an interesting topic of conversation, I think, because I find it very interesting that you guys are so invested in your history and your cultural heritage, because pretty much throughout Europe we don't care. Or if somebody has a parent and they're from another country, like, they might mention that. Like, for example, my friend in school, her dad was from Nigeria, but she was born in Ireland and her mom was Irish, so she just says she's Irish. And obviously if she was asked about her heritage, she'd say she's part African. But in America, it's like the first thing that people say. So it's just very interesting. The next thing I thought was, apart from maybe New York and California, was that everybody would say howdy and y'all. And might I say, y'all is a great word I have adopted because it really does narrow things down. You don't have to say you all. That is a good word. We have an equivalent of howdy, which is howya in Ireland, well, mostly in Dublin. But I did think that everybody went around saying howdy all the time outside of California and New York. The next thing that I thought about America before I actually went was that everybody had very extreme political beliefs. And for that, I blame the internet, probably. On the internet, everybody is extreme. There is no nuance. That is not a thing that exists. But the majority of American people, and people in general, have more complex viewpoints than the internet would let you believe. There are, of course, people who are like very extreme, but like the majority of people, I think, are just kind of like fairly in the middle-ish. They might be one thing or the other, but they're not as extreme as the internet would have you believe, or indeed movies and television shows. The next thing that I believed was that Americans have huge breakfasts every single day. In movies and TV shows, again, you just have this huge breakfast thing turned out. I've talked about this one before on the channel, and you know, you always see the teenager leaving with a bite of toast and their mom's after making like 3-course breakfast.
I did breakfast.
I did breakfast.
And I think that is very much done for visual stuff. I think from talking to you guys, what most people would have in the States is like a bowl of muesli or a breakfast cereal, or some of you just have like coffee on the go. I'm a big breakfast lover. I love breakfast. But yeah, I definitely thought that breakfast was like a much more bigger deal than it actually is. The next thing is, I thought everybody had huge cars. And I was surprised when I went to the USA for the first time. I went to LA. I was surprised there are so many huge cars. Like, a lot of you guys do have humongous cars. But there are also people who just have regular cars. Something that did take me by surprise is how prevalent Teslas are in the last 5 years. Like, there are so many Teslas in the United States, and that's not something that's reflected so much to us here in Europe.
The power of Tesla.
Tesla is a huge thing in the US. But not everybody has huge cars. Some people just have regular cars, like little Fords or little Nissans. Or, I'm not really good at car brands, but they're just like normal cars. They're not like humongous cars. And the number one thing, and I'm kind of like, ugh, when I say this now, but I really did think it was the case. I thought all of the USA, I'm almost embarrassed to say it, because I know it's a continent and you have all different types of weather. I know that now, but my 18-year-old brain did not compute. I thought that everybody in America, apart from like maybe the Sunshine State, I thought you all had a white Christmas every year. Because that's what it's like in the movies.
Look, it's snowing!
So I thought Americans could pretty much count on the fact that you would get snow on Christmas Day. But when I actually sit down and think about it, I realize how silly that is. But yeah, that's what I thought. Let me know below in comments if there are any assumptions you had about Europe before you visited, or indeed before you found out a bit more about it. I would be very interested to hear those, and it might make me feel a little bit better about my assumptions. Shout out to a couple of very special people.
So sorry. If looks could kill. I dressed him up to do the squad thanks video, but he's deeply unhappy with the situation, and I cannot cover up the fact that he is dead staring me right now. But he's very grateful to all of the members of squad. Thank you so much. Mummy will get you some ham, okay? No more jumper, okay? Okay, was it worth it? Oh, you have a little bit of floof on your nose, but I think it was worth it. Thank you, squad.
Thank you so much, guys. That's it for today. See you on the other side. Bye.